Most people look at the man who walks alone and call it sad, a failure to connect, a life quietly missing something everyone else seems to have found. But that is a story the crowd tells itself, and it tells it for a reason. It lets the crowd's own need for approval go unexamined, permanently, without a single uncomfortable question ever asked. Solitude, done correctly, is not absence. It is a system, a deliberate engine for building a mind the pack could never produce. It could not produce this mind no matter how long it tried. Today, we take that machine apart. This is the chosen isolation, the discipline of separating the silence you selected from the silence you are hiding inside. Psychology calls the underlying mechanism self-determination theory. A mind only stabilizes when its choices come from itself, not from fear of what others might think. Most solitude is not chosen. It is retreat wearing the costume of independence. From the outside, the two look identical. Same empty room, same silence, same closed door. Only the body knows the difference, and it keeps score even when the mind refuses to look. This week, split every hour spent alone into two columns, chosen or hidden. Chosen time builds something you can point to later. Hidden time avoids something you have not yet had the discipline to name. Kill the second column entirely. Protect the first because it is the only one that compounds. The average man mistakes withdrawal for peace. He never asks which one he is actually running from. The wolf interrogates his own solitude until it confesses its purpose. That is why the noise he escapes never controls him again. That confession opens onto stranger territory. What actually happens to a mind once the noise it depended on finally stops? This is the signal vacuum. The moment a starved nervous system is forced to recalibrate instead of simply reacting. Biology is specific here, not poetic. Dopamine and threat response circuits are tuned by a near-constant stream of social signal, a notification, a glance, a comparison, a judgment absorbed without consent, dozens of times an hour, invisible in the moment it happens. When that stream is finally cut, the system does not collapse the way the crowd assumes. It resets to a baseline most men have not felt since childhood. The reset is uncomfortable before it is clarifying. Every dependency announces itself first as withdrawal, never as relief. That is precisely why most men abandon the attempt in the first hour, mistaking the discomfort for proof it isn't working. Silence is not the absence of stimulation. It is the removal of a drug the body mistook for oxygen for years. The mechanism runs on discipline, not mood. 60 uninterrupted minutes a day of total signal, fasting. No feed, no voices, no faces, no negotiated exceptions. This is not for relaxation. It is recalibration of a system that forgot its own signal. The average man fills every silence the way a starving man fills a plate, indiscriminately, urgently, without tasting a single thing he swallows. The wolf lets the silence do its work instead. It costs him something real. It costs the average man everything he never noticed he was spending. The bill arrives one distraction at a time, quietly, until nothing is left standing but the debt itself. A recalibrated mind is only useful if it can survive without rescue. That is the harder, colder test waiting behind it. This is the winter test. The philosophy of building a self that requires nothing external to remain standing. The Stoics called the underlying idea autarkia, self-sufficiency, as the foundation of freedom. A man who depends on the crowd for warmth has already handed the crowd a leash. He will feel it the instant they decide to pull. Winter does not ask whether you believe you are prepared. It only reveals, without mercy, whether you actually were. The mechanism build one skill this month that eliminates exactly one dependency: money approval. Someone arriving in time to fix what you broke. Choose the dependency that frightens you most to lose. Fear is simply pointing at the target for you. Every dependency you refuse to name stays fully operational. It quietly runs your decisions from a room you never enter. The dependent man waits for someone to save him and calls the waiting patience. Sometimes for years, sometimes for a whole life spent in a waiting room of his own construction. He furnished it entirely with other people's schedules and other people's permission. The wolf becomes his own rescue long before winter arrives. He built the fire while the others were still arguing over who would find the matches. He was already warm before the argument ended, and he never once mentioned it. Self-sufficiency solves the winter. It does not yet explain why he chose to leave the fire circle in the first place. This is the pack illusion, the recognition that most human connection is architecture, not covenant. The two are dangerously easy to confuse from inside a crowded room. Network theory draws the distinction with cold precision. A network is full of weak ties, relationships that consume energy and return almost nothing of real substance. They get mistaken for community only because they occupy the same room at the same hour. A crowd is a head count taken by people who need to feel counted by someone, anyone. Before the lights go down, a covenant is a bet two people make on each other when nothing external forces them to make it. The mechanism: name the 3 relationships in your life that only extract and never replenish. Step back from each one for 30 days. No announcement, no explanation, no request for permission. Watch closely which ones notice the absence. Watch which ones simply close the gap you left overnight, as if you were never load-bearing to begin with. What closes without you was never holding you up. It was only standing next to you, occupying the same square footage and calling it support. The follower confuses a crowd for safety, mistaking volume for protection. He has never had to test either one under real pressure, and it shows the moment pressure actually arrives. The wolf already knows numbers were never loyalty. They were only proximity dressed in the borrowed language of belonging, but no philosophy of exile is complete without a planned exit. This is precisely where most men who choose the ridge get it wrong. This is strategic re-entry, the final and most misunderstood law of the wolf. Withdrawal without an intended return is not strength at all. It is abandonment wearing better branding. Jung named the underlying mechanism individuation. A man withdraws from the collective not to escape it permanently. He withdraws to become whole enough that his return adds something the collective did not already have. The wolf does not vanish into the tree line and stay there out of spite. He recalibrates in the dark, on his own schedule. Then he reappears with teeth. The pack was not expecting. The mechanism defines the exact terms of your return before you ever need them. Decide what you will offer the moment you walk back in. Decide what you will no longer tolerate. Under any circumstance, decide precisely which version of you is the one opening that door. Make this decision alone, in the one place left where no one can negotiate you back down to size. A man who decides his terms inside the crowd has already lost the negotiation before it starts. The lonely man crawls back toward the pack for warmth, apologizing for the space he needed to take in the first place. The wolf returns as a force the pack must now reckon with, entirely on his terms. He is not a stray they get to reclaim. He is a variable they now have to account for. Stop apologizing for the room you needed in order to become this man. Define the standard the crowd around you is too comfortable to hold itself to. Adopt total ownership of the silence you once treated as a problem to solve. Build the one skill that ends your dependence. Starting this week, not someday, when it's convenient. Refuse the version of yourself that negotiates for warmth it has never once earned. And when you finally walk back toward the pack, walk back as something they must now reckon with, not something that ever needed them just to survive the winter that made you. The wolf was never lonely, not for one single day of it. He was in training. Walk alone, return dangerous.